let you introduce yourself?
I'm the boy, Prince Treble the Rebel.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that nigga, man.
That nigga. Why don't you tell the people where you're from?
I'm from Philadelphia.
You're from Philly, but you live in Baltimore now.
Yeah, I kind of grew up in Baltimore. Like it's like I moved around a lot when I was a kid, so but Baltimore is like one place that I always came back to.
It's like a second home.
So yeah, it's like a second home.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your style? Your style, you know, you have a unique style going on here at the bandana. No.
Man, my style, I'd probably say my style come from, it's like, my style is like an inspiration thing. It come from different things, like, I always was into clothes, but back then, like, probably say like 8th grade, like 1st through 8th grade, like I was just dressing like a straight baggy ass nigga. And I met my man, so Kim and Joe in 8th grade. Like Joe was kind of dressing like a thug too. But Kim, he always like wore like skinnies and shit. And I remember when the Jerk movie came out, and I'm really into West Coast, so that's one thing why my style is the way it is, because I'm into the West Coast culture. So I saw the Jerk movement, and I noticed it came from the West Coast. I was like, yo, that shit look cool. And then that's when that's how I got on the skinny
jeans.
And then like Kim and Joe, they got into the real high fashion shit, and they kind of like put me on with that. And you know, Kanye West, one of my favorite rappers, so I just look at him too and be like, yeah, that shit cool. So just mix all that shit in with my own little twist, and you get this.
You get a lot of people saying that you look like ASAP Rocky, and does that offend you, or how do you feel about that, considering, you know, people may think that you rap like him or your music sounds like his? How do you deal with the critics?
When people say I sound like ASAP Rocky in my music, that shit's stupid, because one, they probably don't even really know, they don't really know what ASAP Rocky sounds like. Just because I chop and screw my shit and I'm from the north side don't mean that I'm trying to be like ASAP Rocky, because he's not the only person that's from the north side that listens to chop and screw music. You feel me? So,
and he didn't start the whole trill.
Yeah, he didn't start no trill.
He didn't.
Like, I'm not even hating on this, because I do bump him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to front like I don't. I bumped that man. And when he came out, I was excited because that's the sound that I like. That's why I was so into this shit. You know what I'm saying? But people, the way I guess like hate. I think it's just Baltimore for real, because that's where I get most hated on. Like Baltimore people just be like, yeah, I'm trying too hard to be like him. They don't even know my whole situation. They don't even know me and shit. So yeah. You know, so I get that a lot, but I just let that shit go. It's just hate and flattery.
Yeah. So tell us about your music, your upcoming projects, and the past music, and how do you feel like you've grown from the past until now?
My past music, I mean, it was my past music was kind of the same. It's just I was more like into dissing people. Like I started all I started rapping when I was 6, and when I was 6, it wasn't really like rapping, you know what I'm saying? But I was in the cafeteria, and this how I remember this like real good. Like it was 1st grade. I was in the cafeteria with a couple of friends, and they start rapping, and then I just start rapping, and basically we was battle rapping, and niggas was like basically talking about each other, and I just went in and started rapping. Where I remember I just was saying a whole bunch of cuss words probably, but I was getting like yes, like they
people liked it. Yeah,
people liked it. In 4th grade, because I did third grade twice, but yeah, 4th grade, I should have been in 5th. That's when I put out my first mixtape or whatever, and then from there, I just started doing hella music. I did music with my big sister, and we used to put on shows for our family and all that stuff. So my sister did that. Like my sister was into music too, and my mom used to rap. So that's another reason why I rap. You know, I guess it just runs in my family, like music. So yeah, but I always like I was into like when I was younger, I was into like West Coast heavy. Like I used to listen to Tupac, Snoop, and all them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I listen to Lone Thugs, a whole bunch of artists from the West Coast, like or Midwest artists. You feel me? And I got into as like when the early 2000s hit, when the South, like Atlanta, when all that shit was taking over, and all the snapping music, like I ain't even like that music, but I start trying to find other shit, and that's when I like start getting into chop and screw music, like when Paul Wall and them start coming out. You know, Paul Wall like one of my favorites, you feel me? So I just start, after when I heard all that chop and screw, I started looking into it and everything, you feel me? And then that's why I rap the way I rap now, kind of. Paul Wall. And my man Kim, he live in Texas, and he had told me, yo, keep on doing that trail shit, chop and screw type music and shit, for real. Because it's really hot down here in Texas, and you know Texas is a big place.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a big ass state. So yeah. So that's why I just kept on with that. You know what I'm saying?
So, any upcoming projects that you want to let the world know about?
I
look out for?
Upcoming project. Well, it's a demo, kinda. It's gonna be probably 15 tracks on it, and it's called Philadelphia.
Hey man, how did DNS come about? Dope Nerd Squad. How did that name? How did you get that name? How did you figure that whole thing out?
Dope Nerd Squad is basically like a branch off of a label I started called Royal Kings Entertainment. That's something me and Okim did. Me, Okim, and Joe. Like, we was gonna have it called The Influence and shit, but we ain't never stick to that name. And then Dope Nerd Squad came about because one day I was just thinking about how we are and how we think and everything, like how unique we are. And I feel as though we, of course, like we big on fashion and all that stuff. We dress with pizzazz, you feel me? So that's why we dope. And then we nerds because we do what nerds do, like the stereotypical nerds do, you feel me? We watch anime, we read comic books, manga. Like, we had debates on who's stronger, like who Batman would beat Superman ass or something like that. We just do, we into stuff, like, we into like unique stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like not every normal kid is into, you know what I'm saying? Because we into like researching stuff about ancient history and stuff, reading about stuff like CSI type of things, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just, I guess, nerdy shit, so it's just, that's how it is. So I just call it Dope Nerd Squad. We some fresh ass nerd, we not like your basic ass nerd, but we dope.
And how many people are in that? How many active members?
Where I see, actively, I think it's just about at least 7, 8. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
7, 8 right now is music. It's the music. Or is there anything getting in the way that's
just money? That's it.
Oh.
We just need to get our money up. We need to get focused and stop saying and start doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta actually grind. Right now, we not grinding. Kind of, it's like you sitting there waiting for shit to happen, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm focusing on. Like, I'm trying to make sure everything. Like, I'm trying to think of a master plan, so to say.
Yeah.
So we can get out to the masses. Be better than 100% of these motherfuckers.
Any final thing you want to say to the people?
Well, Philadelphia coming out. I'll look for that probably August. Hopefully August. But if it's not, just follow me on Twitter at Prince Treble. That's PRINCETREBLE. You can follow me on Instagram at Poppy Chulo Prince, at Poppy Chulo _. Follow my SoundCloud. You can find Prince Treble, everything. Just Google Prince Treble. You can find everything for real. Prince Treble the Rebel, the Nerd Squad. Come out.